Guess who's back? Oh, it's the Draft Boys.
Who is it? The Draft Boys.
It's the Draft Boys. Boys, welcome back to Draft Boys, the FPL Draft podcast. As always, joined by Myles G, Heato, and myself, Whitey. Lads, how we doing?
I'm feeling good. Two podcasts in 1 week, eh?
Love it.
Well, that's what preseason requires.
Let's get into it.
It's really like, you got to just dig in, figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Get your studs on.
And, we've been learning this week.
Yep.
No doubt. We've been just doing the hard yards, doing the research for you guys. But this is the most important part of the draft season, right?
It makes us better.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
And we're bougie this week. It's our second podcast location. We're fucking fancy.
Oh, yeah. We
Must be
go
nice.
around. There's a new little lamp. It's like one of those, what would you call that? Well, the little, when they've got the filament is like glowing.
It's like the retro vibe.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a
It's very
reverse
cool.
pendant light.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
sick. Hito's really surprised us this week with some really nice vibes.
Bad and bougie.
In fact, let's just really increase that.
Turn the lights
He's
off.
turning them off.
Oh, dim them.
Oh, Jesus.
They don't dim very low.
No, they
but
do like to flicker when they go low as well.
Okay, good.
Imagine one day when we're actually like a video podcast.
Oh, the lighting will be sublime.
It's going to be crazy.
There's like a lovely glow coming off the laptop on your face.
Yeah.
You need to increase your screen brightness, Heato,
Okay.
so I get more of that.
Okay. Well, we still
but
get
Myles has some good stuff going on.
Myles tops off episodes if we bring in the
Ooh.
camera.
Actually,
I think we're going to get a lot more of them.
I've just started back at the gym to try and lose this COVID belly that has somehow lasted 3 years. But
Yeah.
That'll be
Yeah,
our
you had a
excuse
good
when
run
we're-
into COVID.
When we're like 55, we'll just be. I remember COVID weight, man. I might find to do
I
something
got to
about
get
it.
rid of my COVID.
I'm up to my 15th jab or something
Yeah,
like that.
I know. Yeah. How many jabs do you reckon we'll have had by like 2 years' time?
Oh,
man.
I don't know. Man.
Minimum 10.
Like two
I
a
can't
year.
even remember the last one I got.
Two a year
whatever.
minimum, I reckon.
All right. Enough COVID chat, more fantasy chat.
Yeah.
So last episode we covered the top 10 teams in
Not
the
the top
alphabet.
10s.
The top
first
10, the first 10 teams in the alphabet.
Yeah.
It was probably a bit light on in terms of fantasy prospects. The back end of the alphabet seems to be a little bit more heavy in the talent department.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's any correlation between alphabet and performance.
Well,
but
Chelsea's in the first and they're always in the top 4, so it's probably not.
yeah, it can't be. You're right. And they're really carrying the top of the alphabet, aren't they?
They are.
I mean, Arsenal aren't
really
really
carrying.
doing their job.
Yeah. Only
Oh,
since
man,
they've,
Arsenal's gonna
only
be
since
all right
they have
this
the
season.
money.
I know, but I just wanted to trash them a little.
All right. All right.
Yeah, so boys, why don't we get into a bit of snack chat?
Let's do it.
And
do
yeah, dig into this pod.
All right. So I'm actually on Snack Chat this week.
Oh, they
Myles
sound
G's on.
crunchy.
I've got these things. They're new. They're called Double Crunch Smiths.
Oh,
And I just went there with the OG just to try them
I
out.
love crunch.
Original
Double Crunch.
flavor.
I'm not sure you've chosen a great podcast snack.
That's true.
So if you hear a lot of crunching this
We'll
podcast,
just have
you
to
know who
mute.
to blame.
We'll just have to mute everything.
Okay, so as I see these chips, what are they called? Chips in America? Crisp.
No,
Crisps.
that's English.
Yeah.
Chips.
No,
Because they call French fries.
Oh yeah,
French
that's
fries.
right. Fries is fries. Chips is chips. Yeah.
Yeah, probably chips.
Okay, what we're seeing here is quite a thick.
It's very thick.
chip with a nice. Oh my goodness!
That was so loud. Wow. We should actually be at the commercial for these chips.
There's a bit of
Definitely thick.
ASMR here.
Yeah.
And look, for the drinks, boys, I got this thing called Can. It's a vodka soda, low sugar, ruby grapefruit flavored drink.
Dude, you cater to Heato every week.
No, it's
it.
just
See what I'm doing there? I'm throwing it back in your face.
to be fair, I came from drinks and I had quite a few beers and
That's
I just
fair.
didn't want to drink beers anymore tonight.
I get it. Well, thank you
So,
very much. Beers would have gone great with these salty chips, but I forgive you.
Yeah.
Full can.
Now, I love an original chip, and the extra crunch is taken to the next level. I mean, if it was paired with a beer, fuck, it would have been perfection. But
Yeah, no,
I'm going to give it an 8.8. I
They're
love
good,
an
eh?
original chip.
They're really good.
I gotta have one more quickly.
Yeah. And this can, I'm going to put it up on socials. It's like a pink tin. It's quite delicious, actually.
Chips, solid 7.
Mm-hmm.
And the drink, I really like it. I'm gonna give it 8.5.
Yeah, I like it as well.
Okay, little cheers.
Really smashable.
Chin.
Yeah.
And
Give us some ratings.
It's got quite an interesting odor.
Rate
Yeah.
and berate.
I like it because sometimes like the vodka soda, it just you smell the flavor, but you don't taste it.
Mm.
Whereas this, you actually
I
can.
do taste it. I like it. It's very light. It's very nice. Did you say it was what did you say it was? Grapefruit
Yeah.
Ruby grapefruit, actually.
vodka soda.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I give that for a vodka soda, that's good.
It is good.
But I'm not going to rate it on a vodka soda scale. I'm just going to rate it on an overall drink scale, which may be harsh.
Yeah. 7.1.
It's a good guess. I'd smash like 3 of these easy. 7.4.
Okay. Wow. Better than.
I like it. Yeah,
Let's
well
get
done,
into
Marlo.
some football.
Oh wait, did Heato rate the drink?
Yeah,
Yeah.
8.5.
Oh Jesus.
Big.
Yeah, I really like it.
I know. I'm not surprised.
I know my
drinkable.
boy. I know
Okay.
my boys.
All right. So, if you didn't listen to the preseason at 1, go ahead and it's not necessarily in order. So you can listen to this first and just go back and listen to the other. But yeah, we're going to basically talk about the transfers, rumors around each club, and then we'll go deep dive into each position. Forwards, mids, defenders, goalkeepers for each club, and then we'll just keep going down that list.
Yeah,
and
chat a bit about the team as well and how
yeah.
we're vibing.
and we'll mix in a little bit of draft tactics too.
100%.
Yeah.
And I
Definitely.
think we even have a question this week.
We do. We got our old fan favorite,
Who was it?
Southie.
Oh, Southie!
Southie.
All right,
texted in.
Southie,
What a
what's
legend.
up? Okay, well, we'll get to that at some point. Do you want to dive straight into Southie's question? We'll just open.
Yeah, let's do it.
Or do we just make sure she listens to the whole pod?
No,
And
no,
we do
let's
it
get
right at
into
the
it.
end.
Just in case she's busy, you know.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
she's basically reached out and said that, you know, her league's drafting this weekend, a little bit early, but she's away camping. So she wanted to know if we had any like tactics on setting up an auto draft.
Well,
Not
Southie,
ideal.
I'm
Not
already
ideal.
a little bit concerned about your commitment to drafting because you just can't be away from a draft.
Yeah. You've done it
It has
before.
to be an emergency. I know. I was twice for work.
Yeah,
I was
you were
working.
yeah.
And it was stressful, but I was able to call in for most, and then I had someone there controlling my draft.
Yeah.
So someone I trusted.
And there was
I don't remember who that was.
there was lots of different things. It was like, oh, if I've got this many midfielders by this point, I want a defender, or vice versa.
Yeah, and you've got to have someone that you really trust to actually try and execute that for you. I mean, it depends on your league and what your friends
It's
are like.
lucky for us too because we also just do it in a spreadsheet. We don't do it in the actual
In the actual draft thing,
in
yeah.
the website, like, and have to stick to the time limit there. So,
Yeah, 100%.
but yeah,
But-
it was interesting with this dilemma of, you know, you've got to do a lot of work, Southie. I think here you've got to really
Yeah.
build out an extensive list because you've got to remember every 5 or 6 or 7 picks, depending how big your league is, you're just going to lose all those players.
Yeah.
So you got to be looking at like how far down do you really want to draft until the point where you're like, okay, I've got 80% of my team here. Happy to leave last midfielder and last defender
To auto pick.
to auto pick.
Because that's essentially what happens, right? So you go, basically you put make a watch list, and then it will basically draft on who's available at the top of your watch list down. And then if it runs out of players, it'll just go to the next highest draft rank and an available draft rank player. So
So the only experience I'll say, even though I don't have any, is you've got to select the watch list and then you can tinker within the list and you can move people up and down.
Yeah.
So you just got to remember that sometimes the draft rank that the fantasy site give you are very loose, and I don't think that they're very accurate because, you know, you've got a lot of players, and then you've got, you know, say the wing backs like Trent and Robinson who are, you know, maybe 26th pick when they could be quite higher. And things like that.
Yeah.
I wonder
Example,
if-
Ronaldo's 6th.
Yeah.
A lot of question marks around him. Like, who
He might not
knows?
even be there. So you might even want to just leave that out completely.
you got to be super careful with that. And if you just left it to auto pick, you'd be in a lot of trouble for those reasons. And I honestly think that I don't know how they pick those draft ranks.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, they are mildly helpful as long as you're looking at it with an educated opinion, but I don't know how they do that. I think if they actually made that too accurate, then it would make draft very boring. I think everyone would just draft off the draft ranks.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know how much effort they put into coming up with those numbers or how accurate they are. It may be deliberate.
Depending on how Southie's league drafts, she could always give me her password and I'll draft for her.
Whoa.
If I
That's a
can,
huge offer.
If they draft from the website and I can just be, you know, her, I'll do that for you, Southie. So if that can work, get in touch on the socials and Draft Boys will draft for you.
Oh, shit. Now, that's what happens when you message us, you know? We come out there. We help the people.
Our service.
I don't know if I'm going to regret that. I don't know if I'm busy and my missus is going to be like tilted.
let's just start.
Is it
with,
next week in our draft?
No, it's this week. She's doing it early, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this weekend.
Or we can at least just like help guide your watch list
Yeah, at least.
order.
And Myles, can
At a
you text us
minimum.
during? And if you've got any dilemmas, like we'll
I'll
try
go
and help.
live. I might go like Facebook Live, Instagram Live.
Oh, that's so good.
I hope that people in her draft don't listen and she's the only one.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
All right, get in touch.
Okay. Thanks for that, Southie. All right. Now we're going to talk about Leicester.
Let's do it.
Transfers.
Yeah.
Crickets. If only we had sound effects.
That cough was perfect time.
Yeah.
Yeah, really surprised here they've not brought any players in.
I think a lot of the chat surrounding this is that it's financial issues, that they need to raise funds by selling players. And there's a lot of rumors of heaps of their players going elsewhere. Like I've heard Harvey Barnes to Newcastle. I've heard Matto to Arsenal.
Tielemans to Arsenal. I don't
Tielemans
think
to
that will
Arsenal.
happen now, but yeah.
But still, like that, you know, all of these guys are being linked with moves away. So there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding Leicester.
So you'd pretty much just have to pick the most loyal Leicester player if you're going to draft and just draft Vardy.
When are they going to get a fucking Red Bull sponsorship? I'm pretty annoyed about it.
Well, he might end up at Salzburg at some point.
He'd have to.
That'd be amazing.
He's the fucking poster boy.
Part of his contract of how many cases he gets instead of salary. Bonus cases.
Let's talk about Vardy.
Yeah.
Okay, first thing, where does he go? What round does he go in the draft for you? After an injury-ridden season, what do you think?
I still think probably the back end of round 2, possibly round 3 is more suitable for him. But he could be a bit of a sleeper pick this year. People might be sleeping on him.
I think so, but we also always think that every year. You know, every year everyone's like, can he do it again? And then he backs it up. Now, last year was maybe the first time that he hadn't. But if you look at his numbers without the injury, he scored 15 goals in 1,800 minutes or 1,900 minutes.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're no longer playing in Europe. If they do manage to keep some of their players, you could actually see a decent haul again from Vardy.
Yeah. I think you've also got to look at really like what comes next in terms of the players around him, like the strikers. It's really hard to judge like anyone like really better than him because it drops off so quickly.
It does,
Like
doesn't
you
it?
look at just even just looking at the draft rank and the list that I've got in front of me, like Kane, Haaland, Ronaldo, Vardy, Jota, Darwin, Richarlison, Jesus. Then you just start hitting like Werner, Calvert-Lewin. Like it drops off pretty quick after about 6 or 7.
Yeah, but
of them.
again, that's another example of the draft rank being shit.
But
Like,
I think
why
but that,
is
I mean,
Werner
more,
there? Like I think there are
Yeah.
more options.
But I
Than
mean,
that.
more you go down further, and you just start hitting Watkins, Wilson, Bamford, like players that are not crazy standouts. So I think what your question is not around of how high he is in the striker list. It's how do you compare him to a midfielder?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd agree with
Because
that.
strikers drop off so quickly. You're not like, oh, Vardy's a lot better than, after probably top 5 strikers.
Yeah, I guess
where does he sit in the midfield?
you got to try and project his points. I think another interesting conversation is who comes in for Vardy if he gets injured.
Well, is like lots of appearances last year from Daka and Iniacho. None really lit the league up. Like Daka scored a shitload in the Europa League, I think.
Yeah.
But it didn't really translate.
And Kalichi didn't back up the tail end of his season the year before.
No.
When he did get the opportunity.
And actually, if you take a look at their preseason, and we all know preseason's preseason, but still 3 goals and 1 assist from Daka is
That's pretty good.
actually pretty good. So he's been looking sharp. I've heard his name a few times. So I think, potentially he's a conversation we had about him. But again, there's so many question marks about Leicester. There's only a certain number of players that you would really consider from this team. And I think maybe we should move on to their mids now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. So Barnes might be leaving.
Yeah.
I think Maddison, he's a pick regardless of what club he ends up at if he does go. So I still think it's safe to to get Maddison or Barnes because they should be going to Premier League clubs if they do go.
Yeah.
And then there's just the question mark over Tielemans.
Yeah, look, he really holds that midfield together. And, I mean, maybe we can chat a little bit on defense too, but they had a really bad defense last year. And
So many injuries.
But they also had shocking injuries. You know, is this team going to be refreshed just by the fact that they actually have a defense again? And, you know, there's not that many injuries floating around at the moment. Vardy's fit. You know, they do still have those players we're talking about. If they all glue, is that enough? And no Europe?
The consistency of the past few years will be really key for them. And I think that gives you a nice, stable platform to approach these players moving forward. No one's going to go, I'm not expecting over-indexing in any way, but I don't expect a crazy drop-off. I think they give you that nice balance in the middle where they're just a solid pick as like your maybe second mid, potentially, depending how it comes down to you. But
Maddison, like, man... He had a haul. That's 181 points. Where does he go for you guys?
And he started so slow. Remember the first 10 game weeks? He was absent.
If he carries that momentum, he could be a big fantasy scorer.
I think it's risky, but I think if the opportunity comes to you at that point of the draft, you've got to pull the trigger.
100%, but where is it? What point is it?
For me, it would be probably
top 10, top 15 players.
For Maddo,
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit further for me.
You think he'll go after the top 15?
For me, it would be.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just because I'm a little bit concerned about Leicester. That's me.
And also, we're talking. You know, remember last week we talked about risks. You know, it depends what you've already drafted. You may have already have a risk in your team. Like, for example, you might already have Vardy based on what we just said.
Yeah.
And if you're faced with that decision in the draft, you're like, okay, Maddison's the next pick. Well, okay, maybe don't take that risk there because you've already taken a risk on Vardy. Is there any standouts from the defense you guys want to talk about? Pereira, Justin?
Not really. No, last year is such an off season for them. Like defenders in the past have been solid for them, but
If Pereira stays fit, though, man, he gets really good stats going forward.
they really do. I think they're definitely like a solid pick that you can swoop in on later on. But I don't value them incredibly highly. I think I value them where they sit basically as a team on the table, like a top 7, 8 team. And that's where I kind of value them.
Last thing, rumors of Schmeichel potentially moving as well.
It's going to damage them.
But the thing is, there's rumors of all their players leaving just because they said they need to sell to be able to buy. So I don't know what to take of that, how solid a lot of these things are. Final shout out, Dewsbury Hall, 1 goal, 3 assists, looking sharp in pre-season. And if some of those players leave, he could stand to slip in.
He had some moments last season.
Not a draftable player, but one to keep an eye on.
Possibly a draftable.
Possibly.
Last mid.
Liverpool.
Wow.
Yeah, my boys.
You like that little segue? We're already at Liverpool.
Oh, so good.
All right, let's talk. Transfers in.
Lots going on.
All right, so let's talk Nunes. We brought him up the other week, but let's talk about it.
Yeah, new boy. Scored lots of goals in the Portuguese league last season.
Yeah.
26 goals, 4 assists in 28 games. Incredibly fast player. Really tall boy. Bit of a shift for us having a taller striker focal point.
Yeah, they're going to be changing the way that they play.
Yeah.
All the channels and stuff so he can be running into them.
He really creates lots of space. So I think he's going to be, he's going to really light it up. I just don't know how much acclimatization there's going to be. Like, I think it's going to maybe take a little bit.
I think that really depends on that Firmino still being there and also Jota. You know, he's been playing up there too and been very good.
That's the thing. There's going to be so much competition and rotation across that front few players. Definitely Firmino's at the bottom of the order, but if you end up with any of those forward players like Salah, Diaz, Jota, Darwin, I think you're going to be quite comfortable with. We also got 5 subs this year, boys, in the league.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to talk
More
about.
chance for these players to come on and get 20 minutes.
It
10
will
minutes.
affect those players, won't it? It will give those more outside players a chance to perform. But
100%.
you also do see managers that don't use a substitute.
Oh, like Klopp doesn't use them a lot.
Yeah, so you might not see that much difference from him, but he may be forced into that kind of a decision.
Yeah.
But sorry, I think you want to say something, Myles?
I was going to say, even though Firmino will be at the bottom of that list, he's been pretty crazy during preseason. And I know you got to
That's
take
what I
what you
wanted to
will,
ask.
but he's kind
Didn't
of
he
taken
score
on
4 goals in like 45 minutes or something?
Well,
Is that a
was
thing?
That was Nunes. That was
sorry.
That
What
was
were you
Darwin.
saying?
But was it Firmino as well? I thought Firmino was just the creator.
Yeah, he's definitely been involved and he looks really sharp.
Yeah.
But that's what I kind of was
misheard you
saying
talking about.
earlier this week in our other pod about if Jota is injured and Darwin takes a little bit to acclimatise, Bobby is a nice standard early season
Yeah.
potential.
I think he's probably going to get the run. From my opinion, from what I've heard, I just think he's probably going to get at the first few games until Jota is fit.
Yeah. So it's a hard thing. When we're talking about draft, we're talking about a player that you want for the whole season, essentially.
Yeah, you got to look at the big picture.
That's the way that you should be drafting. So just to draft Firmino as your second striker is a terrible decision. But if you can maybe pick him up as your third, that's an option.
Or if
then
you've gone heavy, you might have gone heavy mids
Mm.
and a few key defenders. And by the time you get to that point, it's really
Yeah.
chalk and cheese, like what you go for. But
And picking up someone like Firmino may leave, you might go, okay, he might play the first 2 game weeks. Liverpool have some pretty good fixtures. I can swap him out for someone off the bench or the first form player you see. And we all know you got to jump on those players early and you can get tied up by having too many big names.
undroppable teams,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Let's move on to their second signing for the season just quickly. Carvalho.
Yeah.
Carvalho?
Yeah,
How you say it?
Carvalho from Fulham.
Yeah, 10 goals and 8 assists.
Yeah, in the championship last year. Bit of a prospect. He's going to be kind of Harvey Elliott vibes. I don't think he'll be a starting 11 player, but he definitely should get some minutes and be bedded in this season. For fantasy, wait and see. He might get the occasional rotation, but I wouldn't be really deep leagues.
He's not being drafted.
I
And this
really
is preseason
I
draft
really
podcast.
wouldn't bank on him.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we have talked about the forwards a fair bit here. Maybe just a quick bit about the numbers. 175 points from Jota, 15 goals, 7 assists, and a few injuries and a bit of rotation. I don't know if either of you guys have his minutes in front of you, but I think that's a pretty good return on his minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
He definitely missed a bit of last season with a little bit of injury and particularly towards the back end. But I think if you're going these players, they're Darwin, Jota, Diaz. He's a mid, but there's a lot of options there. I think it's just a question of how early you go.
I think Jota could, based on the fact that we're talking about right now that he might get rotated, right? Let's say he's fit for the season. He was injured last season, so maybe his minutes will be relatively the same. And 175 points for a forward, as we've said, is a good haul.
It is very good. But even if he has as good a season as he had last year, he won't get 175 because he's a forward. So he gets 1 point less for a goal.
Yeah, of course,
plus the
of
clean
course, of
sheets
course.
that Liverpool keep.
But he gives you that variety, though, now with diversity because you didn't necessarily have
As many forward options.
many forward options. It puts him up there, opens up a midfield spot for someone else.
Yeah. And we've got Havertz and stuff in the forward. So we've got options up there to fill
Where
the
do you think
spots.
them as forwards are going in the draft?
I think Nunes has
Top
got
10,
to go
top 15?
top 10.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
think-
would have gone Jota above Nunes.
I just think that long-term Nunes is going to be the option.
But that's not this season
And
for me.
No, but Jota's injured right now. So if Nunes
But he
jumps
might miss
in,
the first game. And I think Firmino will play that first game.
maybe. I think Nunes is definitely coming on. And if he lights it up, Klopp's not going to be shy away.
Let's just see.
Hmm.
Yeah. For me, it's Jota before him.
I think that they're very close, whether one's in front of the other. I think they're going very close together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First
in that top-
round,
they're in
beginning
that-
of the second round for me.
Yeah. They're in that top 10, 15 player picks.
Well, all right. Well, let's
Just because they're Liverpool too. They score a shitload of goals.
Let's talk about the first draft pick.
Yeah, you reckon?
Let's talk about Liverpool midfield.
Mo Salah.
I think the easiest one here is Salah.
Yeah, I mean, if you get first draft pick, you can't not pick Salah.
Fantasy fucking royalty. I think he's probably the best fantasy player of all time at this point.
Probably Aguero might notch him just because of how many seasons he's played.
But I guess, the consistency of Salah here,
Yeah, probably.
230 plus points in his 5 seasons. Not even, that's every season he's played in the Prem.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got
That's
more than
unreal.
230 points.
Yeah.
That's insane. And some of
Very
those times
insane.
the numbers are crazy high, like breaking records.
Yeah.
I just think, yeah, that's going to be hard to beat.
It's definitely going to be hard to beat, but I wouldn't put it past possibly KDB to do it this year. I think we'll get to that, but I think City are going to be fucking electric.
I'm looking forward to having a chat about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then Heato, we've brought him up already. Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we spoke a little bit about him earlier this week because we're talking about the rotation options within your strategy, but he's basically got that left wing spot nailed on. Replacement Mane, incredibly strong pick. He lit up the season. Second half of last season, hit the ground running. Can't even imagine what a full season under his belt and a preseason is going to do.
Is I think there were flashes of a bit of inconsistency from him at the end of last season. There were definitely like he'd go really hot and then he'd go a bit cold, then he'd go hot. And whereas maybe Mane had been quite consistent, I guess maybe if you look at his whole Liverpool career. Do you think he's going to immediately fill Mane's shoes in terms of points? Can you expect that kind of a haul from him?
I don't
or
think
would you
so.
be gauging yourself and taking 20 off or something?
Yeah, I wouldn't be thinking it's a direct Mane type pick back up, but it's in a team that creates a shitload of goals, wins most of their games, scores a lot of goals, lively attacker. Like it's definitely not as valuable as Mane because Mane's like a first round pick, but Diaz could definitely be a first round pick.
Okay, let's talk about the other mids. Are any of them draftable?
No.
Not at this stage.
No,
That was
definitely
what
not.
I thought.
Yeah. Let's talk about the defense.
Yeah, this is probably one of the best. Well, was the best defense last year. I think they kept 20 clean sheets, and they have consistently had the top defender in this team, Trent. I mean, 208 points, 14 attacking returns, 32 bonus. Definitely the first defender to go, but where will he be picked?
It's a really tough decision, and it really depends on your league, what draft pick you get. You know, I think if you're an early draft pick, then, you know, on the way back, a lot of good forwards and mids have been taken. So you might be forced to take, you know, a wing back, whether it be, you know, James or Chilwell or Trent or Robbo or Cancelo. You know, you're going to have a lot of options this year. So it really depends. I think it's you know, if you're a middle of the round pick and you're not too happy with your first round pick, you might have to go Trent.
I think, yeah, for me, I mean, in our league, at least I think the last 2 years, it's gone before the end of the snake of a 7-man league, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that means first round or beginning of the second. And I actually think that's where he belongs. And with the consistency of his performances, I don't think anyone is going, oh, I might snag a defender late. I might be able to get Trent later. Like everyone knows what Trent's capable of. And he does outscore by quite a substantial amount the other, you know, the next best defenders. I think, who was the next best defender? Was it Robbo?
Yeah, I think it was Cancelo, actually.
Cancelo.
Yeah,
What was
he had-
Cancelo?
Cancelo was really
He
high.
was just
201.
Yeah, just
201.
behind.
So, and I don't know. I mean, it's a real question of whether Cancelo can do it again, and I'm sure we'll get to that.
And
but
Cancelo had an amazing season. I don't know if she can back that up, but he still will be
it's in
a
an
great
amazing
asset.
team. Though.
Yeah,
It's going to be interesting.
but he had so many attacking returns, like a ridiculous amount. Like some of his assists came from the middle of the park.
yeah,
We'll
I
talk
know.
about that.
I know, and he shoots from everywhere. But let's talk about the other Liverpool defensive assets because they're actually all good. Robinson with 186 points, Van Dijk with 183, Matip with 170. Like, whoa,
Huge.
it's insane.
Yeah.
And then Allison had what, like
176.
70. Yeah.
Like, holy shit,
There.
that is insane.
Yeah.
Like, that's what 20 clean sheets gets you.
100%.
But they also get a lot of bonus too.
They do, yeah.
So for you, Heat, obviously, I think Robertson's the second best of those options.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah.
And even with only the 2,500 minutes or whatever he played, like he had like 27 returns and 21 starts.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Do you think that they bleed Simiakis? Or
I
however
don't
we
think
say
so.
it?
Yeah, Tsimikas. I don't think he would get... He might get a few more minutes, just like maybe the extra sub might allow Robbo to come off with 20 to go.
Yeah.
But I don't know, from what we've seen so far, like Robbo is just a fucking engine and he's insane. Like I just don't see.
I'm looking at here his numbers from that to the end of the season. Obviously, he was injured at a fair bit at the beginning. 7.6 points per match.
Yeah, he finished really well.
Like
Way
he was
better than
scoring.
Trent.
Helps my charge.
He was scoring
Way
better than Trent.
Yeah.
I think that's the one where you could watch to do your double player strategy.
Mm.
Depending how the season kicks off and the rotation starts coming in early on, is it something you might want to take a punt on to double up on left back?
Yeah.
Because he is a good, it's not just like a shitty youngster coming in. It's like he will take the set pieces for corners and produce, not as good attacking
And he's got a
returns, but
fire in him, that kid.
Yeah, he's got a fire. He's got good cross on him.
Okay, VVD and Matip. Let's keep this one short because we know what they are.
Yeah.
183 points for VVD it's high for him, right? Like, I mean,
I think it's where he should be, to be honest.
I agree with his ability, but I wouldn't be surprised if that dropped just a little.
But if Trent and Robbo don't get attacking returns, VVD actually gets BPS because BPS is more focused on center defenders than wing backs. So as long as that's why VVD got so many points last year.
Yeah.
Because he got so many bonus points. He was so consistent.
Yeah. Okay.
These are your top tier defender picks. These are you're slotting in these players quite early.
Yeah.
So Matip, I think that's an important one for us to talk about because that is a very high score for him.
Yeah, that is high for him. I would agree.
Now, I think, with the potential rotation of Kanate, Heat, what do you think? Is Kanate only going to work more into this team?
There probably will be a little bit more rotation. It just depends. Like last year, Matip just had amazing form and Gomez was injured. So it just became Kanate having that rotation spot with Champions League games and every now and again. It's definitely up there. Like you take the punt to try and get a Liverpool defender that will play most games, but you definitely don't value him as high as the other three.
Yeah.
You're definitely throwing in other players from other teams that are starting every week
100%.
over him.
But I don't think that you can win the league without having a Liverpool defender.
I think so. You have to have a crazy fucking team.
You have to have a good one or Cancelo. I mean,
Yeah, but
then.
But still, you need the consistency of the clean sheets and the attacking returns that Liverpool defenders
100%.
get.
Okay. Now, I mean, we talked about Alisson, 176 points already. He's going to go early. I think, I think you'll figure out exactly where that'll be. Probably third round, maybe top 15, 20 picks. That's potentially where he belongs to go.
Quick draft strategy before we move on.
Yeah.
So last year, I drafted Alisson and Edison within a pick of each other. I went back-to-back keeper picks, and I simply did it for trade value and also to block someone else from not having those points.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I've got both of them, someone's not getting those clean sheets. And I know that mid-season, someone's going to get so fed up with me having two premium keepers that they're going to give me a starter, like a mid or a forward that I want. And I basically have a choice of it because they might want a really good keeper. They'll have a shit keeper. So
not bad.
It's a good draft strategy if it fits in with what you're trying
What you've built beforehand. Yeah.
I know it's hard to do, but it's something
to keep in mind
that I did last year and it worked for me.
Let's talk City. Now, their transfers in are obvious. We've got Haaland, who is a machine. And we've got, obviously, Calvin Phillips, too. So, Phillips...
Not a fantasy pick.
Not a fantasy pick, but generally for City, great signing, I think. They definitely needed something around there, and he's going to give them only more depth.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, really. But he's only going to add more to players around him, like Haaland. So maybe let's just get straight into Haaland.
Yeah, last 3 seasons, 22 goals last year, 27 the year before, 13 the year before that. He's a big boy.
He's a massive. I reckon he's going to come in and just light the Premier League on fire. I believe that he is built for it. I know that there's a lot of strikers that have come in and failed to do so, but I do not believe that he will be like that.
What do you think about all this chat about built into his contract, they're going to manage his minutes. Have you heard about this?
No, talk to me.
Okay, so built into his contract, one of the things to draw him away from Real Madrid was because he was nervous about the intensity of play and injuries that might happen in the Premier League. He was being drawn to Real Madrid by the fact that it's a bit slower and easier on the body kind of thing.
Right.
City basically built into his contract to lure him there to say, you will manage your minutes, we'll rest you, like you will get rest kind of thing. So, I mean, with the injury he had last year and, the depth and the size of the Man City squad, they can handle not playing him. I mean, I think he's going to play.
Bring him on for 30, play him for 60.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like either way.
It could be like that, or it could just be like, look at that from game week. What is it? From game week 6 or something? Those Champions League fixtures start. And from there, they're playing like twice a week for like the top 4 teams are playing twice a week until like game week 16 or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So there's going to be heaps of rotation in those teams.
Pep roulette, baby.
And they've definitely brought him in to win Champions League.
That's true.
Like that's a goal for them. So that's a good shout. It's interesting. I think he still has to go high. You just can't.
He will go high, but
because he'll come on and fucking score 3 goals.
the question that everyone's going to ask is he higher than Haaland? Is he higher than Kane?
That's such a massive debate, and I know it's happening in the budget world because you kind of have to make a decision because you can't stack so much money in your forward picks.
But it's the same for draft. There's no way if you get Kane, you'll get Haaland.
No, probably not. Unless,
There's no way.
There's no way.
Haaland will go.
They're both
probably
going first round.
Yeah, top 4 picks. I mean, I would be surprised if it goes to 4.
We'll get to Kane, but I think Kane's probably going to have one of his best seasons this year.
I'm looking forward to talking about that.
So.
All right. So, one last thing: 83 minutes per goal over 3 seasons. I don't know if we already said that. Did we say that? And the next best is Salah at 120 minutes per goal.
Yeah, he's an animal.
And that's factoring in. Obviously, he's been injured, but that's just like,
and he
scores
them all
every game.
He scores poaching goals. He scores just like worldy top bins. He scores out the box.
Youngest player to score 20 Champions League goals.
He's a good pen taker.
He could be on pens. I heard another chat about the fact that he might get pens off Mahrez.
Mahrez definitely doesn't deserve to be on pens.
Yeah, well, he's apparently he's the pen taker.
If
I
he's
wouldn't
on,
be surprised.
Yeah, if he's on. But then you've got Haaland, who he's got those Zlatan vibes. He's just gonna go in there and just like, no, this is mine, you little.
I score goals. I get paid to score goals. Let's do it.
Yeah,
like robot version.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. Oh wait, I'm looking at pen takers here. At the moment, it goes Mahrez, De Bruyne, Gundogan.
Yeah, but that hasn't been updated. I don't think.
I don't think it has either.
Yeah.
I think he'll come in and ask for that pen spot.
Well, if he wants to be one of the top goal scorers of all time, taking pens is a big, big part of that.
Yeah, so let's move on to City mids, which are also kind of up front as well. So we got Mahrez, Foden, put KDB in this whole conversation as well. And who else, boys?
Look, I'm thinking actually Grealish,
Also the new kid, Alvarez.
Yeah, look, for me, I'm really interested in Grealish because the more I've kind of read about him today as well is that he's been really sharp in preseason.
He has been, yeah.
Pep's been talking him up, and when Pep talks up a player, he tends to play him. And there's that second season thing with Pep where he kind of gets the most out of players in their second season. I just think he's been saying a lot about how well he's linking up with Haaland. He's looking good. He's given him the confidence. I mean, he did the same thing to Silva one season.
Yeah, when he played him out wing.
Remember, I drafted him based purely on the fact that Pep was just frothing over Silva. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really see him as an amazing asset, but he did have a good preseason.
Yeah.
And that was a really good season for him. So I just think potentially with no Sterling there now, less competition, he could be really frothy.
But also the no Sterling and no Jesus thing, I think it favours Mahrez as well because of that right wing, which is where those two players more were catered to when they didn't play through the centre.
I mean, I thought, didn't Sterling play a bit on the left?
Yeah, Sterling played on the left a lot.
Yeah.
It just
I thought he was
depends-
mainly on the
It just
right.
depends how Pep wants the left footer, because Foden's left footed too, so he could, if he wants inverted, but didn't always do that.
I think basically the chat, all the chat I've heard about it is questions because no one knows.
That's true.
And
Pep roulette, baby.
it is Pep roulette, but there's something about Grealish to me.
The one thing I want to raise about Grealish, I know it was Villa. He hasn't scored more than 8 goals in the last 5 seasons.
In the last 5 seasons.
In a season.
In a season.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So 3 goals last year, 6 at Villa the year before, 8 at Villa the year before that.
Wow.
So, I know it's different, but it's we've never seen him hit numbers
That's
like
true.
that before.
Should we just quickly give Silver a shout out? 33
wouldn't be.
starts, 155 points.
I wouldn't be picking him.
You wouldn't be picking him?
No, because he only got those points when your boy Tommy had him and he was playing forward.
Yeah, okay.
And then he dropped off like
Yeah.
a fucking cold sack of shit.
All right, let's.
I wouldn't be picking him very high. I think the numbers will deceive people going into draft this year.
Yeah, Bilva's not really high on my list anyway. He's more of a squad player, like a free agent pickup with a bit of form for me.
Yeah, okay. I like that. All right, let's talk defenders because this is another good defense. Now, we've already mentioned his name, Cancelo, 201 points, 11 assists, and 27 bonus.
Yeah,
Huge,
massive.
huge.
What kind of projection of points would you put on his name? What would you think he's going to get this season in terms of points?
Look, I think he'll get similar, but not that high because I had him last year, so I was watching him ever so closely, and some of his assists came from the most audacious positions. He was making these top of the foot crosses from the middle of the park or just past the halfway line to get the assist. And sure, he might do that again, but they were De Bruyne-esque passes that cut through defenses. And I'm not saying that it's fluky, but I don't know if he can pull it off 2 seasons in a row.
And if Cucurella signs,
Yeah.
isn't there a competition from him there?
Yeah, can I say one thing about Cancelo? He had
can.
7 assists last year.
So many.
That's not that many, dude.
It's a lot for a defender.
I think all those points are clean sheets.
How many goals did he
And
get?
bonus. 1 goal.
What? That's so deceptive.
Yeah, but that's still 27 points plus 33 points.
Why is he getting so many bonus?
That's almost a quarter of his points. It's a fifth of his points.
And he got
Just in
27
assists.
bonus.
Yeah. And the bonuses are coming from those assists and stuff.
Yeah. I think a clean sheet combined with any sort of assist or goal
Yeah.
gives massive boost.
He
But
had some huge weeks, single weeks.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
unreal. Double digits every week. I was like, are you
Oh, no,
kidding
sorry. He
me?
had 11 assists. I don't know why this other website's giving me wrong.
yeah, that's what I had. I had 11 assists.
Yeah, this other website I've got,
Okay.
it's giving me weird stats. Sorry,
It's 11 assists. Okay, let's talk
Sorry,
about
sorry.
Laporte and the center of
yeah.
the park now, because I think, we know what Cancelo is. We think he can do it again, just maybe not that high.
Apparently, Laporte's got a little bit of an injury at the moment. I don't think it's
I
going
heard
to
that.
affect him long term.
No.
So I still think he's a pickup. But, if you're going for a big, start, you probably want to pick up Diaz.
I think you're going in terms of defenders approach. It's the 3 Liverpool players and Cancelo, and then you've got the next, and then maybe Diaz, and then you got Matip, Laporte. That's kind of your top
Because
6,
Diaz faces
7.
rotation, right?
Yeah.
More so than Laporte. Laporte had 33 starts. And then I think it was Diaz. Yeah, he had 6 less starts than Laporte. So what? He had
He had some
27
injuries
starts
last year. I think he was out injured a few
Okay.
weeks. So it
Yeah,
wasn't
he
that.
was.
It wasn't form. He's definitely their main defender. These 2 teams, Liverpool, Man City, they're your top bracket players that we're calling out.
All right. Now, Edison, obviously.
Yeah. Same as Allison. If you can try and pick up, these 2, you're going to be you just play them the whole year.
Guaranteed clean sheets. One thing I will say is I've heard that Allison faces more shots typically
He does.
than Edison. Edison gets no bonus
No.
because he doesn't make any saves.
No.
It's kind of crazy. Anyway,
He doesn't make a lot of saves.
I think Allison has more opportunity to score. Now, that's really covered City off nicely. Let's go on to United.
Really interesting this year for them. I would say that their front three, what's going to happen with Ronaldo, I don't know. If he leaves, I think Martial climbs in value.
Yeah, well, 100%. Well, let's quickly, just before we get into that, let's talk about their transfers. They have been a little quiet in terms of that. They've signed Eriksen.
Yeah, which will be good for them creatively.
I think, depth-wise, and also bringing him on in the last 30 minutes of a game to kind of help create.
Yeah.
And obviously his free kicks are amazing. And then the other signing they made is Tyrell Malacia. Plays left back. I think it's worth keeping an eye on him. It's more whether he manages to take Shaw's spot.
That's it.
Which I think he still has to take it, though.
Yeah.
But
I feel like Ten Hag's wanting to bring in more of his own men.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, that's for sure. And Shaw didn't have the best of seasons.
No.
Now, quick rumor chat. What do you guys know about Anthony?
Yeah. I don't actually know too much about him, but I know that they're very keen on him. Him and Frankie de Jong.
Yeah, Frankie de Jong. But Barca don't seem to want to let him go.
Well, I mean, I don't think he wants to go either.
He doesn't want to go.
Because of the wage cuts that he's taken over the last couple of years to get paid extra.
He's owed like 17 million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I don't think he wants to go into a shitstorm of Man United either.
Yeah.
But he would be a good signing for them. They desperately need something in their midfield there, like in the deep line midfield, maybe a bit of creativity there.
Yeah. I don't think he's got crazy like assists and goal stats though.
So, I mean, for us, Anthony, keep an eye on that because it's going to affect their other assets. But Frankie, probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, forwards.
Yeah, it's been such an interesting season because obviously when Martial first came to the Premier League, he lit it up. I think he scored two back-to-back braces or something, and we thought that this guy was going to be like the new GOAT.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed like he lost a bit of form, got a bit lazy when he did have his chances, and he's really dropped off until this preseason.
Had a run of shit managers.
That
doesn't help.
So, and then Ronnie came and, obviously completely took his space last year.
But now Ronnie's not been at preseason.
No.
And Martial has basically been the first choice striker all of preseason. He's scored in each of his 3 preseason games and has basically been preferred up front. What kind of risk do you take there on him?
It's so hard. I hope that I don't have the opportunity to pick him up, even though I think that if he's getting the minutes, he's going to be a weapon. I just don't really want to get involved in the whole Man United shit fight at the moment.
Well, the Martial-Ronaldo thing, I honestly think Ronaldo, if he moves, will be a deadline day move.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it's going to be one of those ones that's like, he's just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go to America. Or fuck it, I'll go
So how do you approach that with that risk in draft? Like, are you not drafting him then? Or if it gets to you
Ronaldo's a fuck, man.
Yeah.
It's so scary to me. I don't want to draft him, but it's going to keep, like a lot of people will feel that way. Or there might be someone who's not paying attention and picks him up. But when like one of those players that we're all like, oh, he might be going. And he just like keeps knocking down. He doesn't getting picked. And you're like,
you just got to do it.
I can't not pick Ronaldo third pick. Like, like if Ronaldo gets third pick, I think he's going.
Yeah.
Especially for us with 7 people. Like it's...
And he scored 18 goals last season. Only Kane had more points in the forwards. Anyway.
It's just so many question marks.
And he's a fucking name.
Yeah. I don't want to go early on him, but I think it's if you can avoid him being your first striker, I think take that.
Okay.
It's hard
This links us well into our midfielders. A player that suffered from Ronaldo being at the club is Fernandes.
Yeah.
He's had 10 goals, 7 assists last season. Still not terrible numbers, but kind of lost out on penalties, right?
He really lost out.
And then when he did have the opportunity, I felt that he had so much pressure on him from
Yeah.
behind whatever, was happening.
Oh, the
That-
hot breath
that
of
he
Ronaldo
missed-
on your neck.
He missed quite a few pens. And as a Fernandes owner last year, like I'll tell you, I think there was about 3, possibly 4 that
Yep.
he missed. And, you got Ronaldo breathing down your neck. What are you going to do? You can't blame him.
No, I would hate that.
But also
pressure.
because he wasn't that focal point, he wasn't the one steaming through the middle
Yeah.
and becoming the first line of attack, which he
Yeah.
did a lot. And he would just like spank one in.
Yeah.
He's got Ronaldo in front of him there, so he didn't have that direct route to goal.
Yeah, look, very interesting. Honestly, I'd be keeping a very, very close eye on Fernandes because he was pretty consistent for the season and a half, wasn't he? He
Yeah.
came halfway through. He was amazing that first half season. He was really great second season. Ronaldo did affect his points, but
I'd still be comfortable drafting
if
him.
even if Ronaldo was still there, like he is 100% a great pick. But
Yeah.
where does he go for you guys?
I think for me, probably close to the second round, depending on how big your league is. I think he's somewhere around the top 10-ish.
And I think we'll remind people when we talk about this, we're in a 7-man league,
Yeah.
just as a frame of reference.
Yeah. I'd say somewhere around 10, 12.
Really, I would say between 15 and 20.
Whoa.
I think there's better picks that are with more info about them that you could go for. There's too many question marks.
Okay.
I don't know, because I still think I'd put him above Vardy and I'd put him above Bowen and I'd put him above Madison and Richarlison. So I think 10 is a really good number, personally.
Yeah, I think so too.
Maybe actually with the wing backs involved,
You throw
around 12, maybe you're
throw
right.
more
Yeah,
players, defenders up.
but no more than 12.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about 2 potential sleepers here. Rashi, it's weird calling Rashi and Sancho sleepers.
Yeah, but that's what they are.
But that is what they are this season. Rashford had a shocker last season with injury for at least the first 10 game weeks or something, and then just really never found form. I think only had 3 returns last season, but he's bagged a couple of goals in preseason. I think he's got an assist too. He's looking sharp. And Sancho seems a little bit the same. Last season, he only had 3 goals, 4 assists, but apparently he's been arguably Man United's best player in preseason.
yeah, I think
3
under the new
goals.
manager, he's looking really
I
good.
rate Sancho a lot more over Rashi.
Then Rashi,
I think Sancho's one of the top picks from Man United this year.
Yeah, he should be.
higher than Bruno.
He'd be up there for me.
Oh, wow.
I just think he's got more potential. I think he's proven it a lot before coming to United, and it's just that classic first season settling in, shit manager, turmoil. I think he could really thrive.
If Ronaldo goes, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Sorry, if Ronaldo goes, I don't agree with you. Sorry.
really.
So, because I think that if Ronaldo goes, then Bruno comes so high up in value. Confident, he gets his pens, and he could be the Bruno that we saw for like 2 seasons before.
I just feel like there's also Bruno didn't have many other people around him. But Sancho's a pretty good outlet for a pass.
So they're both going to just be good for each other.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to call who versus who, but I think they're both good picks.
Now, Man United's defense, we're not going to spend much time here.
Yeah,
don't touch 'em.
It's a mess until you know what's going on with Ten Hag. And you know what? They could become a lot more solid defensively. But for me, as long as Harry Maguire is there,
Yeah.
we won't be seeing.
No.
Especially if he's captain.
Yeah. Ten Hag doesn't seem to be afraid to drop people, and he hasn't played Maguire all the time. But I think Dallo could be a little bit of a pickup. Maybe a 3rd, 4th defender could be a good option.
Okay, let's move on. I know we're not really mentioning De Gea, but I don't think he's worth mentioning unless United start keeping clean sheets. So let's move straight on to Newcastle. They've had a fair bit of movement in the transfer market. Myles, what have you seen from them?
Yeah, so they brought Pope in. Target from Aston Villa came in. And also, I don't know too much about Botman.
Yeah, Botman. Well, they spent about 34 mil on him.
Yeah, new defender.
I mean, that's a decent amount of cash. I believe he came from Lille. I don't have many stats on him, but I've heard positive things. I think they're happy about it.
Yeah.
For me, Newcastle are kind of buying really smart. It's not like they're overreaching.
Yeah.
We all thought that they were just going to try and buy Neymar, straight off the bat.
Yeah, they've been very clever.
But they got, Eddie Howe as their manager. Yeah, Eddie
Yeah,
Howe. Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, that didn't sound right. But they got Eddie Howe. Like, yeah, he's a good manager,
Yeah.
but also like, you know, you just felt like they were just gonna fucking buy everyone and be, you know, straight to the top. But they're building their way up, and they've really focused on building a good defense with those signings, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. So Target and Trippier on their wings look really, really good. In their midfield, I'm not too, glued to anyone besides possibly Almiron, who's had a pretty decent preseason, a couple of goals this morning or yesterday. And then in the forwards, I think that Wilson and St. Maximum are options.
Yeah, look, I'd agree with that. If they're going to get the minutes and if they keep that same form they had at the end of last season, Callum Wilson, if he can stay fit, he'd be a top scoring forward, no doubt.
He's just got to stay fit. And
20 goals and 6 assists in 39 starts at Newcastle.
He's a freak.
He's a good player, no doubt.
If he gets the opportunity, he finishes it, doesn't he? He's a finisher.
Maybe they'll manage his minutes better. Is anyone else have mentioned for you guys there, or are we happy to move on to Nottingham?
I think the only thing would be just Trippier.
Trippier, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Had a great start to his Newcastle career. Got a massive injury.
Great
I think
free
he could be
kick
a really
taker.
solid like mid-tier wing back
Yeah,
pick.
definitely.
Yeah, I think he's a really good option.
How many clean sheets do they get?
Not a lot.
Really?
No,
Not even with that firming up of the defense?
Oh, how many?
No, this
sorry, I thought you meant
next
last season. I think definitely a lot more than they.
Because I think at the
previously.
back end of last season, they had one of the best defenses in the league.
They had 9 clean sheets.
Most of them were in the back end.
Yeah. 9. Oh, yeah. I think it's about 9. The players kind of range from having 6 to 9 clean sheets from last season. So
But I think most of them came at the end.
I think
So
they'll have a lot more this.
it's going to be a really telling season. And Newcastle might be one of those teams with lots of sleepers in them. Not necessarily sleepers, but maybe people that aren't doing their research and still
Yeah.
see them as Newcastle.
Yeah, they've gone from being a defense you don't touch to a defense you probably will end up having someone.
and like the keepers, it's great. Okay, Nottingham Forest. Woo. Okay, they've
Welcome.
There's a bit of movement.
They've signed a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I think they lost a lot of people from loans and whatnot, but they've brought in. Heato, do you want to just run us through them?
Yeah, so they got Taiwo Awoyi.
Now you know why I threw that off to you. I was like, Heato, you can take care of that.
Awoyi.
He's
I
got
don't know.
great stats, by the way.
Great stacks from the German league. I think it came from Union Berlin. 15 goals, 1 assist, and 31 appearances. I think that will be quite solid forward option. They've also brought in Dean Henderson on loan from United, goalkeeper.
And we know he's a great keeper.
Yeah, great keeper. They got Nico Williams, a backup youngster right back from Liverpool. I think he'll be a starter and potential some attacking returns there. And they've also got Lingard on free.
Yeah, that's a really interesting pick.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard that they're playing like I think it's like a 4-1. No, anyway, they have 2 strikers and someone in the hole.
Yeah, it's almost like a 5-3-2.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
5-3-2. Yes.
Kind of.
So, but basically, like Lingard will play in behind 2 strikers, which will be that Taiwo Awon. Sorry,
Awoni. And Johnson.
and Johnson. So why don't we just go straight into the forwards now?
Yeah, like I think that as probably a third striker, I'd be picking up one of the Nottingham strikers.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like with the goals that at least Johnson has scored. He scored 15 goals in his last 28 appearances. You know,
I'd also be happy with
nailed
the
on.
second if I've got a strong mid and defence.
I think they could easily be a second.
Yeah.
It's like a Tony last year. Like it's a strong playing every game.
Yeah,
No Champions League, no
And-
Europa, nothing. Just
And they play well.
Yeah.
I had a look at some highlights, and they're not just like a Burnley, for
Yeah.
example.
Johnson is also on pens.
Yeah, Johnson's on pens. Yeah,
So, you also got that. So it just definitely gives him a little bit more consistency and opportunity to score. Yeah, okay. Midfielders, I don't really have much on their midfield.
you got Jack Cole back. He's back in the Prem, and Cafu as well.
But are they
But
exciting you in
no,
any way?
I'm not picking him up.
If they
don't
go
have-
hot, they go hot.
They don't have many stats behind them from last season. So
Yeah,
And is anyone touching their defense?
I think it's like a wait and see, just to see how they line up against Premier League teams if they can keep them out.
they brought in a few defenders in the transfer window. So it'd be interesting to see how they kind of gel.
I
as a
think
new
Nico
team.
Williams is maybe one of those names.
Yeah, Nico mentioned before, and probably Toffolu as well. I think he looks good.
Okay. Now, I think Hendo will probably face a lot of shots, and being a good goalkeeper, we've seen players in teams like that perform quite well before. So maybe a good second goalkeeper pick.
Yeah, I think even a first.
Yeah, I know.
He'll end up being someone's first,
You
definitely.
might get him second.
Yeah, or it could be your second. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
a good option.
Okay, Southampton. Well, pretty underwhelming, hey?
Yeah.
Always
As
is.
they always are,
Yeah.
mostly. I think there's only one person we ever want to talk about. That's Southampton.
JWP, baby.
Our boy.
Yeah, well, they've only really signed Joe Aribo, who's typically a midfielder, but I think he finished last season as a replacement striker and scored like 9 goals and 8 assists. So, he only moved into that position late on in the season, so not a bad haul.
Yeah, not too bad.
But whether he'll play up front is
Exactly.
a
And they
question.
haven't got Broha back from Chelsea on loan, so
No.
you're looking quite thin up front.
So
in
that
terms of options.
he could play up there, but
And Shea Adams finished really well, so it'll be hard to get that spot from him. They only like to play one up front. So
Yeah. And these are your like third pick strikers for sure.
yeah, I'd be happy with getting Shea as my third pick.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it's your droppable rotation spot.
Yeah,
So the man, the myth, the legend, the goal swinging celebration, JWP.
yeah. I'm actually really surprised that he's still at Southampton. I thought that he definitely would have got his move by now.
He's a loyal boy. 159 points. He's on pens, free kicks. All of his goals come from that, bar 1 last season. 9 of his goals of 10. But I think one of those things is we always look at him and he doesn't look that sexy.
No,
I mean, but finally he's become a little bit sexy because if you stick with him the whole season, 150 plus points is great points.
yeah, it really is, and probably no better man to tell us about him than you because you stuck with him.
I did, yeah. And it paid off.
Yeah,
Their consistency is key. Last 3 seasons, he's pulled in a decent amount of goals for a mid-table midfielder.
yeah.
I mean,
He's
you
on
can get
every
him
free
4th or
kick.
5th pick. I mean, sometimes he was undrafted.
Yeah,
And you just got him as a free agent.
yeah,
He got a bit of form, and you jumped on it, and
Yeah.
you held on.
yeah. The goals come very far between, but yeah, it's that pick where if you just have him as your 4th, 5th mid potentially, or you just go early and play for that consistency. Yeah,
Okay. There's a lot to talk about with this next team. Spurs.
Wow. Is
Lots
it going
of
to be one of
signings.
those
Yeah, let's
years
rattle
where
them off.
everyone's talking about Spurs and they don't show up?
It's the Antonio Conte factor for me.
Yeah.
I know they've had some
If
good
they didn't have
managers through
Conte-
there, but like there's something different about them.
they
for
hadn't
me.
just sold Bale and then spent like 40 mil on Soldado. Remember that guy?
Yeah, I know. They
And Lamella.
Oh, yeah.
that was amazing. But he forever will
They've
have one of
bought
the
well
best
this
goals.
time, though.
Yeah,
They've
fire 'em off.
really bought well.
Fire him off for us, Mark.
Yeah, go.
Yeah, so Perisic has come in on a free. Fraser Forster, backup keeper. Basuma from Brighton, they've got him, and I think he's a really versatile player, can play in a couple of positions. Richarlison from Everton, which is probably their best signing, and that's going to be really, really helpful for Kane and Son and even Kulusevski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even in defence, they got this guy called Spence,
Yeah, Jed.
and I think he's going to
From
be
Nottingham.
really,
And did you
really
mention
good, yeah.
Lenglet as well?
Oh, sorry, and Lenglet as well. Yeah, thanks for
I
reminding
mean,
me.
talk about firming up. Like they've just given themselves Champions League depth for
Yeah.
me. Because they've got a decent team to play off there.
As a starting 11.
And they've only strengthened them. They might have even improved on some of those positions. Perisic is super versatile, is traditionally a winger, but has been playing as a wing back.
Yeah, but he is a bit older.
Yeah, but and 100%. He's going to be a rotation player, no doubt. He's 33, but still 8 goals, 7 assists last season,
Yeah.
being played as a wing back.
He's a defender in the fantasy system.
So that's only good for him,
Yeah,
really, because he
100%.
actually may be used as cover up as a wing.
Yeah.
Like he might get used all around because he is versatile.
He could be really good. I just think that you just got to watch out a little bit of all the hype. Like he has come from a different league. The Premier League is not where he came from. So just be a little bit careful with him.
Yeah, but I like Tottenham for clean sheets this year. Conte is traditionally quite good with his defense.
Yeah.
And, like someone like Perisic, he could get some good minutes. if he's a midfielder, gets clean sheet points, or if he's playing very attacking, getting clean sheet points, you can't fault that.
And this is the last season before Conte throws his toys out of the pram.
Yeah.
So
This is where it
Enjoy the
usually
ride.
goes
Is
well.
it really?
enjoy the ride.
Oh, just
Based on history.
Okay, let's talk about Harry.
Let's talk about Harry and Son at the same time.
Yeah, they
What are you putting first? Are you putting Son or Kane?
Son.
Yeah.
Son for me, just because he's a midfielder.
Okay.
I'm
yeah.
not basing that off the fact that I think Kane's going to have a bad season. I think Kane's going to have a good season.
Mm.
I just don't think, based on Son's reputation from the last couple of seasons, that Kane can outscore him without being a midfielder.
That's
And the
point.
amount of that Harry has now dropped back to be that kind of, he drops deep to provide a long
Yeah.
ball. That game style is, just going to lend more to goals for Sonny.
And Richarlison, he can play up front. So it might just mean that Harry gets a little bit more rest.
Yeah.
That could be a good thing, that no doubt. He basically plays every minute of every game.
Yeah.
So maybe that rest will help him. But yeah, Son, he scored 23 goals last season and none of them were penalties.
Yeah, he's a
cooked.
freak.
Like, that's nuts. That is
it's
nuts. That's basically better scoring
Than Salah.
than Salah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you really have to respect that. And if he's not in those, we were talking about Haaland and if he could even go fourth pick. Well, yeah, Son is going to potentially push him to that.
Yeah. I was having an argument with someone about, they were saying, Son in budget is so overpriced at 12 million. And I'm like, yeah, but he's not on pens and he basically outscored Salah, the GOAT.
Yeah.
Like, come on. He should be even higher than 12 almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be matched.
100%. But one thing is he may face rotation a bit more this year with Champions League and a really congested fixture
And
list.
do those goals spread around the team more?
I think potentially they might. Richarlison, proven goal scorer. But also,
Kulusevski had a great...
but they also may
season.
just score more goals.
Yeah, they could.
Because, with only two players scoring the majority of their goals, they might just score a bit more.
Yeah.
He's a very good pick.
Yeah. I think he's like top 3 picks.
Yeah, me too.
It's Salah, Haaland.
And he's
in the
not
top
going to
3.
World Cup, is he? Is South Korea going?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they are.
They are,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So is Kane as well.
Yeah, so they're going to be tired. Yeah.
That's my
Okay.
worry.
I don't think that we need to talk about too many other midfielders. So let's just go straight to the defense.
Yeah, well, it's interesting here because of Perisic, he's going to create... He's on the right, I think.
Left.
Oh, left.
Yeah.
Oh, apologies, left.
Yeah. And Doherty usually should be on the right.
On the right.
Yeah.
There's talk of them trying to sign another right back, so I don't think Conte's like settled on.
Where does Spence play?
In the middle.
Oh, he plays in the middle, and so does Lenglet. Lenglet, I think, is left-footed.
Yeah, he does play I think he wants to play like left of a back 3.
Lenglet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And from what I've heard, he's actually a good ball player, and usually a bit exposed defensively in a 4,
Yeah.
but in a 3 might be a bit.
And then you got Romero and Dia, as I like to call him.
I think they're solid. The fact that they came 4th in the league last year, I think that's how you kind of position them as their quality of assets in fantasy. Like they're kind of not that first top tier, but they're definitely up there.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, they are right there. No, I'd agree. Really, Matt Doherty's 55 points. I think we'll be seeing more unless we see an injury.
Yeah, or unless he just is not favoured. But if he gets that spot, he'll be very appealing.
Okay, now let's move on to our last team here, West Ham.
Second last.
Second last.
Wolves, baby.
Wolves, hiding down the bottom.
We don't have much on them, but we'll try, boys.
Yeah, we'll be a quick finish.
West
Okay,
Ham.
West Ham signings.
Yeah.
Someone go.
Well, the main one is Scamacca from Serie A. New forward.
Yeah,
16
30
goals in
mil.
Serie A
New
last
guy.
year.
Yeah, 30 mil.
Definitely need those goals up front. Antonio's a bit of a flop in that sense.
Well, yeah, and it's going to be interesting because Bowen was basically played up there, right?
Yeah.
So this could affect his points. Well, will affect his points.
Mm.
And is he a forward or a mid this year?
Bowen,
Yeah.
he's a mid.
Well, okay. So he could
He's
still
still
get
there,
a good
yeah.
haul. The only other names I'm seeing here are Areola from PSG.
Yeah.
And
Aguard.
Naif Aguard. But they spent 30 mil on him, so I feel a bit silly because I don't know who he is.
So he's a defender, like central defender, and he's going to really, really shore it up. I think Kufal played in that position.
Yeah.
No, Souček. Wait, I always get confused with those two.
Now, Souček plays, he's a midfielder.
Defensive midfielder.
So Kufal, I think he's trying to take over.
Kufal was like right back a bit. They have Dawson and like Zuma.
Oh, yeah, Kufal's on the right.
Bonga, Diop, a few of their centre.
Yeah.
So it should be Zuma and Aguard.
I'm not really sure, to be honest.
I think
there was
so.
a lot of rotation last year. It was really hard to pick West Ham defence.
I mean, for me now, actually, like if you look at it, they've really tried to shore up their defense. If they spent a fair bit there, and Flynn Downs is also a centre defensive mid, probably likely to be, filling in the empty hole left by Noble, who retired.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had like the highest pass completion rate throughout England's top 4 divisions,
Crazy.
and guess who was second? Declan Rice.
Oh,
So the boys can pass.
they're just going to pass to each other.
Yeah, they're just going like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Like a pinball machine.
Yeah, look at our stats. Look at our stats.
I think West Ham will be a really interesting one because they had such a standout season last year. I'm wondering if they can back it up. I believe that they could. We haven't even mentioned Ben Rama yet. I think that he still will make the starting 11.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
And then we've got to mention Creswell, guys. I think he's one of the most consistent defenders in the last couple of years.
Cressy.
how many points did he get
aren't
last
top
year?
tier. I think he got about 140 something, but he was injured for about 10
115.
games. 115, yeah. So he was injured for quite a while.
Yeah, he was. I think they're a hard team because they kind of outshone themselves last year. And people outperformed too. So there's a lot of question marks of can they do it again?
Yeah.
And are they playing in Europa League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they have that additional thing. But they have created a bit of depth
actually, I think
there.
they might have missed out, actually.
No.
Oh, did they?
They-
But if you look
they
at...
came 7th.
They've signed up players in positions they needed.
So that's fine,
They
isn't
feel like they've
Yeah.
done a good job in the transfer market for me.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, last one, Wolves.
Wolvesy boys. Not great fantasy prospects previous few seasons.
No.
Jimenez really hasn't lit up.
Not last year, and I mean, he
No.
had that horrible head injury. So for me, I was expecting that.
Yeah. Ideally, you don't want him to be your main striker.
No, definitely not. Second striker could be an option, though.
Yeah.
But he could always light up. That's the thing.
He can.
And if they manage to get their shit together, well, you got to keep an eye on him.
They just don't score a lot of goals per game.
No.
That's the thing with them.
I do like Neto,
Is he a
though.
second striker though? Like, will he be someone's second?
Probably will be because he plays every week, and by the time you chew through the striker options, but it's not like
Ideal.
I wouldn't be stoked to have him.
Well,
Let's
let's-
pick him if I needed a striker.
I'd probably
but
prefer like Johnson or something from Nottingham, to be
I'd
honest.
probably rather take a punt on like
Yeah.
Awoye or however
Yeah.
you say his
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
name. To be honest, just because.
But, Neto and Podence are back in the midfield, and they were out for most of last
yeah,
year, actually.
and they're looking good in preseason.
And they were great the year before that, before they were injured. So
Neto, yeah.
maybe they just needed that creative spark. Well, maybe Jimenez
they
needed.
definitely missed that
Yeah.
for sure.
So in preseason, Neto has 3 goals, 1 assist, and Podence has the same.
Yeah.
So both of them are scoring. Wolves have played a lot of preseason matches,
Great midfield
and
options.
I just think that like more sleeper picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
What, as like 4th mids?
Even third, maybe.
maybe?
Yeah. Like, it depends how
Depending how
deep your
strong.
leagues are. But yeah, I even think, those guys can fit into the third.
Well, they've got one more preseason game, giving us one more chance to have a look at them before they start. And I know it's still preseason, but if we're seeing more goals from them, like after that, I'm
Yeah.
going, they're worth looking at.
Yeah. And just to sum it up, round it out, even their wing backs, Eight Nori and Johnny, I think that they could.
There was some
Get
good
there.
flashes of
Yeah.
defensive. They kind of dropped away last year, but they definitely had some periods of return for sure. And one of the guys is left, the old dude who played wing back.
Oh,
Fuck, what was his name?
Well, Cody was their outstanding player. He had 138 points, which is nothing to snub at a team that's only finished mid-table.
who's that fucking guy?
Yeah, he was like the old dude that filled in.
Whispering, we can all hear you.
But yeah. Anyway,
All right, let's round it out at that.
Round it out.
At the lack of memory.
Boys, it's been a long pod, but preseason pods always are. There's so much to download.
there is a lot.
Do you want to round us out with one last little draft tactic chat? Because we didn't circle back. No, I wouldn't mind it.
Draft tactic. Okay, don't drink too much at the start.
Oh, that's short and sweet.
Yeah.
Drink a lot after the 5th pick.
Yeah, because I made a massive mistake that almost cost me the league last year in round 3 because I had too many bloody fireballs that you egged me on to do.
Bobby was the egg.
And I almost lost the league because of it, because of Timo Werner. So you can always pull it back.
Okay. I don't know if I brought this up last week, but I think I brought it up after the pod. But there is a little helpful tip that you're never going to miss a fantasy deadline with. You can go to pl.ecal.com and you can sync your phone calendar to have all the FPL deadlines come up.
Sounds like
You
they
definitely need that.
sponsored us.
But how good is that?
They should sponsor this.
I need that shit. I need that little reminder to
You
go,
need that
oh,
so
I
bad.
need to put my team in.
You need a lot more than that,
Ooh, I
though.
need- I
You do.
just, you know
It's a
what
good
they also
foundation for it.
also need a little draft deadline one too
Or for waiver.
for waiver wire.
Maybe we
Ooh.
should create one.
Spicy.
Like, join our Google Calendar.
Yeah, join our
No, we just have
calendar.
an app that just does everything. It has
Yeah.
a podcast.
Mm.
All right,
leagues.
Heato, give us yours. What's your draft tactic?
Don't draft Bamford first.
And that's a wrap.